Tristan, I'm out of Los Angeles. I've been in real estate since 2003-4, and we were the ones that pioneered contacting online leads when you started seeing companies come out of the woodwork. We created the whole ISA process, nudges, drips, all of that thing. And then Realtor.com paraded me all around the United States to let everyone know that online leads work. At the time, way back, we were spending about $60,000 a month on online leads before anybody was doing that. So then we grew, and then Facebook got a hold of us. I ran Facebook and Instagram's advisory board for real estate for the whole nation. And I connected them to Keller Williams, EXP, everyone. And then from there, I had a lot of other opportunities to run a lot of different companies and also be part owner in a lot of companies, that I'm not at liberty to say. But one of the great partnerships we had and that we helped grow very recently, and we saw it grow and then sell to Zillow, was Follow a Boss, right? That was one of the partnerships, a friendship that I had from month one, and then we helped them grow their community. So you see my fingerprints behind a lot of what they did on the background. And that's just one of many that we've helped out with. I still run a team in Los Angeles in the top 1% in the nation. And I still sit on a lot of boards. And I'm watching what's happening right now in the real estate world. There's a lot of panic, and there's also a lot of opportunity. And I want to talk to you about the opportunity, because one thing that's been clear throughout history, I'm a history major, went to law school with a history degree. And so I've seen this. No one knows what's going to happen. And our ability to adapt quickly is the key to your success. So when you look at things and when you hear people say, oh yeah, this is going to happen. Oh, you know what? They have no freaking clue. I don't care who you talk to. I don't even know what's going to happen. So daily, you've got to challenge yourself to place yourself in situations that make you adapt quickly, that kind of make you scared. They challenge you because you're not used to it. Look at all of the uncertainty that went around during COVID. That uncertainty for us as real estate agents, for a lot of us, is apparent. We're seeing a lot of real estate agents have no transactions in the last few months, and some that are doing well. I mean, I've got one of my agents that's doing really well, 9 under contract right now. Our average price point is $1.2 million. Where is he getting them from? Well, that's what we're going to talk about, because in this time of uncertainty, you've got to grab hold of the things that you can control. Like, we can't control the government. We just can't. I can't control interest rates. I can't control Zillow buying Follow a Boss. I just can't. And neither can you. So stop bitching about it. So instead, I want you to do one thing. Let me disconnect that. I want you to focus on the things that you can control. And what's that? Your skills. What's that? How you respond to things that are happening around you. And the very first place you want to start are with your strengths. Because if you start focusing on things that are outside of what you're already great at, it's going to be a larger learning curve. Right now is not the time to take that on. Right now is the time to focus on the things that you're amazing at. I'm not going to throw out ambiguous numbers like, I want you to 3x it, I want you to 10x it. That's a bunch of bullshit. What I want you to do is outline, what are my strengths today? What am I great at? And if you were to ask me right now, they're different than when they were before. When I got started, I came in with a background of telemarketing. I would call up here in Los Angeles, I would sell ink cartridges and windows, and I would go door to door. Little did I know that all of that would be great in real estate, right? And so I want you to ask yourself, what are you great at right now? Are you amazing at talking to people on the phone? Do you have a great social media presence? Do people love talking to you? Are you just good with people naturally? Do you hate people? Are you the type of person that sits in the back and is like, I hate people? That still works too. Don't worry. Like, I suck at showing property. The moment I realized that, I when I started building a team, and I was like, guys, I suck at showing property, but I'm really good on the phone. And so I want you to start thinking about that, because all of that is part of what you're going to do. And I want that to focus around one thing, because one thing is super clear. I did a recent, and I don't have it with me, but I'll send it to you, Julie. I did a recent survey in Lab Code agents. We have 163,000 agents in there, and 17,000 agents were part of this. We had 63% of them say that their immediate business, the last 3 months that they got, came from referrals. 63% referrals from other agents, from friends, past clients, Sphere, their database, referrals. That's a big number. And when you look at NAR, it's very similar. And for us, when I looked at that, Julie, I was like, wait a second. That's really close to what we have as far as our number one source of business. As techy as we are, as much as we're on social media, still referrals is number one. And number two, online leads, number two for us. And so I want you to focus on that. And I know I don't have a lot of time, so I want to show you something that I created. In fact, if you've read the book I released earlier this year, I was lucky enough to be published by an amazing 200-year-old publisher, Wiley Publishing, and our book is doing pretty well. You know, I can't share my screen. It doesn't let me, so I'm going to put this in the...
We're going to make it happen right now. Go ahead. Go.
All right, let's see, share screen. Got you. All right. So on the big screen, let's see, here it is. Let me know when you can see it. You should see it, HOP, H-O-P. All right, so we were getting about a little over one referral a day. And when I looked back at, and when I say we, it wasn't the whole team, it was just me. When we include the whole team, it went crazy. So I'm like, why am I getting one referral a day? What is going on here? So I reverse engineered it a few years back, and I realized what we were doing really well. And that was our brand. Our brand was meeting my core Sphere and past clients. It was meeting them in these three different places. And when you look at this, I want you to start thinking with your strength, right? What am I already great at? I already have friends, I already have Sphere. People are already close to me and they like me. There are some that don't, that's okay. We're focusing on the ones that love you here. Now, your brand, you've got to think, my brand, my personal brand, has to meet them at home. That's where it has to meet them first. Because when I reverse engineer this, I'm like, what are we doing at home with these amazing past clients in core Sphere? Well, we're sending postcards to them. We are. And remember, you don't have to do all of these. You can do one in each one. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You're like, Tristan, postcards they're just too much money. And I've got a whole mess load of people. I'm like, great. You ever been to Target and you pick up a note card? It's like for $10, you can get about 50 of them. Start with that. Because we also do handwritten notes, but we've scaled it so we don't buy note cards. We use a company called Addressable Mail. You can use audience.co, or you can use handwritten, or you can use Cardly. There are so many. What we've noticed is the difference, though, the handwritten part is what makes the difference. Yesterday, I had one of our coaching clients reach out to me and say, Tristan, I just had an event of 100 people just for our area, right? My core Sphere, this, and I sent out a handwritten note. And today, he said yesterday, it's like the day before. Today, the person, I think it was like 3 doors down, came over and said, I'm so sorry, I couldn't make the event. And guess what they were holding in their hand? The handwritten note that I had sent. It impacted them that much. The person that received it said, hey, you took time to write this, and I wanted to say thank you, and I couldn't make it. And that bonded them closer. This is the call I had yesterday. My handwritten notes matter. You know why? because it tells a lot psychologically. Like, I took time to write this out. You're important to me. And I'm not spamming you with, at the bottom saying, hey, the greatest gift would be a referral from you. That's a bunch of garbage. Nobody wants that. I want to connect with you authentically. And the part of what we miss as real estate agents is that we're always selling, and we're not letting the value that we provide be the piece that's selling for us. So in what you're doing here, what you're looking at, this HOP method, I want you to think value, always value driven, because the next is a personal gift. And these we only do, and I'll tell you a quick story. Let me see how much time I got. Good, I can tell you a quick story, and then I'll come back to that. The personal gifts we use Client Giant. You can use whoever you want. If it's in-house, amazing. But what we do is we pick only our core past clients that have referred us business or that we think will, and we include them in this gifting process. And because our price point is a little higher, we go a little bit higher on the gifting. And so one of those was a gift that we gave to a couple, husband and wife, that they got from us, where we sent them to a comedy, it was a comedy show. And I had no idea it was the guy that they really wanted to see for years. Is it an Asian guy? He's super funny. Is it Joe Coy? Is that his name? Anybody know? Is that what his name is?
That's his name, Joe Coy.
Joe Coy, yeah.
He's a Netflix special. And so they're there, and they're texting me. And they say, we can't believe it. We haven't been on a date like this in years. Thank you, Tristan. On the way home, the husband calls me, the wife rips the phone off, and she starts crying. And then she's like, thank you so much for this. Like, this was just absolutely amazing. And you know what? That's what we're here for. We're here for those moments when we give so much value, so much giving, right? We give ourselves to this business. This is what Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, they can't take away from us. Because it's how we make people feel. That's the key. And this HOP process, when I started dissecting it, I'm like, damn, I've been able to make people feel amazing in all these 3 different places. And that becomes the key to long-term success in this business. We've created a career, we've created a brand, we've created a business. Now, when we look at this and look, I tried to rearrange this, an acronym for myself, but I couldn't. It was like OP. It didn't make sense, so I put HOP. But I would start with O because it's the easiest in the world that we live in. Perfect. O is where I would really start, which is online. And when I'm talking about online, it's everything that's in this little device, your phone, right? And you can start with social media, which is probably the best place. Just gravitate to. All right, good. Online is where I would start. It's the easiest, least expensive, especially if you're on social. And you're like, but Tristan, where do I go? I'm like, well, where do you go to every morning or afternoon? Where do you gravitate to when it comes to social media? And most people gravitate to Facebook, and that's okay, because there are 70% of all Americans are on Facebook right now, and they're continuing to grow. So I would treat it like a business.
Recording in progress.
I'm doing it anyway. Thanks, Tristan.
Hey, no problem. I would treat it like a business when it comes to Facebook, like we do. Every morning, whenever we're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you're on, we do a process called like, comment, message. And we do it for 20 minutes. And it's something I created for Facebook and Instagram for their other business verticals, and it ended up working really well for real estate. And that's, I go through and I scroll through, and if I see Julie, I'm like, hey, where's Julie? I'm like, oh, she's eating, awesome. I'm gonna like it, and then I'm gonna comment. I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty tasty. Comment, and then I'm gonna message her. If I haven't messaged her recently, I'm gonna message her, and it's gonna be along the lines of that post. I'm not gonna bring up real estate, and then I'm gonna just like go through for 20 minutes and do the same thing with a whole bunch of other people. And then the algorithm loves that. Why? Because this is what social media is about. It's about connecting with people. A lot of the times, and I'll stop sharing really quick, a lot of the times we forget that social media starts with engagement. It doesn't start with posting content. It's a two-way street, but it starts with engagement. A lot of people don't grow on social because they just lack engagement. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, I posted this and this, and I just can't get engagement, Tristan. I'm like, that's because you're starting in the wrong spot. You're supposed to love everyone first. And then they'll go to you and say, I wonder what Tristan's up to. And then as soon as they wonder, and I've done a good job posting, then I've hacked the algorithm, because then I'll pop up for the next 30 minutes on their feed. So there's a lot you can do there, and obviously the best thing you can do is on this little device. Texting, calling, nurturing. What does that look like? That's the key to this. And newsletters, we can go deeper on this. I don't have a lot of time on this one, but let me pop up the graphic one more time. You've got a lot of things in the middle here that you can do that are free. And remarketing isn't free, but I know Julie does it, and that's extremely important. So cost effective. But to be able to have your brand follow people around on Facebook, Instagram, and Google, that's priceless. And then the last one is you've got to, at some point, meet them in person. And we're talking about your core past clients and core sphere here. We've done big events. We've done one where we had, I think it was just a little over 400 people for a Halloween event, not this year, but the year before. That was great. I hate big events because I'm always so anxious. I'm like, oh my gosh, just so I like smaller ones, like dinners. But my favorite ones are one-on-one. One-on-one is by far my favorite because there's less noise for me, and I could focus in and connect with somebody. So I'm really choosy as to who I go with, and this is where you have to be too. It's like if your brand is meeting them in person, that's you. You're meeting them in person. It's time to look at your CRM and take a look at. Not everyone is equal there. There are people in there that are influencers that have a lot of connections that you just need to reconnect with. Who are they? Like we literally just closed a transaction with Kim Kardashian has a company that's is it called Skims? I don't know what the hell it's called. That's the one. Okay. We just closed a transaction with a vice president in Pasadena, and you better believe we're super tight with them now, right? Because we want to create that relationship. What does it take? It takes a lot, right? But we're very choosy as to who we decide to create relationships with, because not every relationship is equal. We have the problem of opening up our CRM and just starting at the top or starting with that's the wrong way. I need you to start categorizing them, saying this person's going to coffee with me, this person's not. And when you get to coffee, just shut up. Let them talk. Let them engage, because at the end, just like the beginning, it's how they feel after you've met with them. That's what they're going to remember. Because if this person leaves after, they're gonna leave and they're gonna be going home and like, man, there's something about Tristan that every time I meet with him, I really like him. That's what you want to do. And then once you get in your car, you're gonna text them and say something about the conversation, not salesy at all, right? Send it over when you get back to the office or home. Handwritten note gets to them in 3 or 4 days. This is how you run a business that continues to give you business in the future. This is the key. This is why we're not going to lose. No matter what happens, who cares about the NAR and all this shit that's happening? It's just blinding you from doing business. This is a relationship business. It's not going to end. You just have to show more of your value and stay in people's minds. This is the key. This is how you win, regardless of what market we're in. And that's all the time I have.
We love you, and I